Hello, everyone. My name is Cooper Hip, and I am always honored and proud to say that I am Chief Marketing Officer for Enummi Skincare North America. And I always look forward to doing these calls because I always find myself amongst people who have really positive energy in their life and that are looking for real positive change in their own lives, financially and personally and physically, just on all levels. And I'm always so honored to be able to kind of give people the opportunity to be in that playing field, to allow people to do exactly just that, to make positive change in their life. We as consultants with Enummi, that's what we strive to do every day. We try to do it for ourselves. We are all about mentoring other people to do the same in their lives, and it gives us a great sense of community and one which I am extremely proud of on a daily basis. So just to kind of jump right into it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of how I got here and why I'm here and why I love being here every day. And the reason that I'm going to do that is actually because of my dad. My dad is, I grew up in the South, and my dad is a great old-school Southern storyteller. And he always taught me that selling anything or trying to deliver a message is nothing more than just telling a story from your personal perspective. And so in the spirit of that, I am going to tell you mine of why I'm here and how I'm here. And it started last year in 2012. And as I mentioned, I grew up in the South in a place called Paducah, Kentucky. Yes, that is a real place. It is actually in western Kentucky, and we border kind of Tennessee and Missouri and Illinois. And I was home visiting my mom and dad and went over to see an old family friend whose name is Dr. Rob Robertson. I grew up in Dr. Rob and his wife Dawn's house as a child, basically. They lived down the street. Dr. Rob's son and I, Robbie, are great friends to this day. And I had not caught up with them in a very long time, and I decided to call them up and say, hey, Dawn and Rob, I want to come over for a glass of wine. And I was so happy that they were excited to see me, and so I went over there and kind of caught up on what was going on in my life. And I knew that Dr. Rob in about 1998, started a company, a direct sales company, but I just didn't know anything about it. I heard whisperings about it, but I just I'm trying to catch up with him. I said, well, Dr. Rob, how is your company doing? Direct sales, right? He was like, yeah, direct sales. And I didn't know anything about direct sales, but I said, okay, well, how's that going? And he said, well, we have we are doing about $250 million in revenues a year. We have offices in 22 different countries. We do business in 58. And we have about 220 independent distributors globally. And I kind of took a sip of my wine and kind of took a big gulp and said, well, congratulations. I sounds like you're doing pretty well, Rob. I'm really happy for you. And I just didn't want to get into a whole lot of it, but I needed to know all I knew, and that he was doing great. And for that, I was extremely happy because I love this family very much and always have, and I've always wanted the best for them. So it was time for me to go back to Minneapolis, where I live. And about a month later, Dr. Rob called me, and I was so surprised and happy to hear from him. And I said, well, Bob, what's going on? And he said, Coop, and that's what he called me, Coop. It's very Southern, short for Cooper. And he said, Coop, listen. He said, I was talking to you a little bit about, my company, For Life Research. He said, we founded it with a couple by the name of David and Bianca Lisenby. Our corporate offices are in Sandy, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. He said, you're going to find it quite surprising that we're a $250 million company with offices in 22 countries, but we've never launched North America. And I was like, what? Which I guess would make sense that I just had not heard of For Life Research. I mean, when he told me it was a $250 million company, I was like, well, why the heck haven't I heard of this? I mean, I'm in business. I'm kind of in the know about companies, but I didn't know For Life Research. And he said, when we launched in 1998, we launched on a product platform of supplements based on a patented extraction process of colostrum called transfer factor. He said transfer factor has done very well for us, very well globally. We are in the physician's desktop reference. We have clinical studies beyond imagination showing its efficacy on the immune system and supporting positive health. He said, but we always went to where the opportunity was. It was the tail wagging the dog. We went to where we were pulled, and we were pulled internationally immediately. And our independent distributors have done so well that they've often said they don't have the bandwidth to launch North America. And at corporate, we've had double-digit growth year over year. The foundation of the company is solid. There was no real motivation because they were just growing by leaps and bounds. But they got to a point where they're like, okay, it's time to launch North America. And they made a strategic decision to do it in a different way. And last year in 2012, they created a skincare line with the name of enummi, ENUMMI. And he said, we've developed a skincare line. It's really fantastic. And we decided that instead of leading with transfer factor in North America, we feel like it will be very effective if instead we lead with the enummi skincare line. Everybody gets skincare. When you're talking about immune system and natural killer cells and in clinical studies, it becomes difficult. Skincare, everybody gets. Everybody gets skincare. It's in front of us all of the time. And it's about results. People will try it, they'll love it, they'll buy it. And I'm like, okay. And of course, the marketing person in my head going, well, what is an enummi? I didn't know what an enummi was. But he explained ENUMMI is actually the word immune spelled backwards. So it kind of linked the two together. I thought it was pretty darn clever. So I appreciated that from the get-go. And I said, well, Rob, that's great information. I'm really happy for you. Good luck with that. He goes, oh, no. I'm like, what? He's like, we want you to run the company. I'm like, you want me to run the company? Now, my experience in the past, I'll tell you a little bit about my background in that I lived abroad in Japan for a lot of years. I then went and got my MBA from Vanderbilt University in international marketing and global product development. In 98, actually the year that For Life was founded, I was recruited out of Vanderbilt to work for Best Buy Corporation, which is located here in Minneapolis, where I was head of entertainment software, video games, and all that kind of fun stuff. And it was about a $400 million category. And after that, I was vice president of product development companies and technology and all of this kind of stuff. But it was really in Best Buy that, back in the early 2000s where I really cut my teeth on learning how to develop products. I knew products. I knew what made them successful. I knew, how to get things to market and help them to succeed. And so Rob knew all that, and which is why he was making this phone call to me that day, saying, we want you to launch enummi Skincare and introduce For Life Research into North America. And I was completely blown away and taken aback, and I kind of stumbled over some words, which I'm obviously going to do tonight on this call, which I do every week, so it's no big deal. Get used to it. But I was honored. I was absolutely honored. But the truth be told is I didn't know anything other than what Rob had told me on that phone call and what he told me over at he and Don's house over a glass of wine. And out of respect, I'm going to do my diligence on the company. I'm going to, Rob asking me to look into this, and I'm going to look into it. I didn't know what to make of it. Didn't know anything about the company. Didn't know anything about the product. Didn't really know anything about direct sales except for what I had personally experienced when I had been approached to join a direct sales organization, which, mind you, was not a positive experience. But having some negative perceptions of the industry at that point in time, unfounded perceptions, I kind of went off and took about 6 weeks to really look underneath the covers. And with my business experience and my business development and all working for these companies, large and small, I know what to look for. I know what makes a company solid and a company that is set up for success. And so in my diligence, that's what I was going after. I was going after these key elements that I needed to walk away with confidence to say, yeah, this is a company that I am being provided a solid foundation. If I wasn't being provided a solid foundation, then I just wasn't going to do it. Respect or no respect for Dr. Robertson, it had to be right for me, ultimately. And so there really were 3 critical areas that I wanted to kind of look into. The first and foremost thing was how solid of a financial foundation does For Life Research have? I knew it was $250 million a year, all the offices, double-digit growth year over year. But that, on the surface, could seem great. On the underside, it could be in shambles. We hear of companies all the time that have large, annual revenue, and they go under. So those numbers are impressive, but I needed to see what was under the covers. So I looked. I signed a non-disclosure. They were kind enough to open the books to me, and what I saw was the most healthy company. I cannot and won't give you the details, but you have to trust me when I say it is impossible for a company to be any financially more sound than For Life Research is today. And it was a big concern for me because so many people are waking up to the opportunity of direct sales, which means that there are a lot of new companies out there. A lot of new companies coming in, direct sales, it's the new wave, and there are these startup companies that just don't have the required capital to get it going right and certainly to keep it going. For Life Research does not have that problem. I can guarantee it. So issue number 1, check financial stability. We're all good there. Number 2, obviously being a marketing guy, a technology guy, a product development guy, I need you to know, are the products any good? I mean, a company can be stable, but if your products aren't good, then who cares? So I am seasoned enough to know what I know and to know what I don't know. And I knew that I didn't know skincare. I hadn't a clue. I barely used sunscreen myself. I mean, I just didn't. Fortunately, because of enummi, it doesn't show, but it's good now, but wasn't so good before. But I know product. I know product very, very well. So what I did was I brought in a dear friend of mine who has been in the skincare industry for years, about 15 years. She owns a very, very high-end medical-grade skin clinic in Minneapolis, and she knows her product. So I set up a call with the product scientist and my dear friend, Lori Beecher. And I said to Lori, the directive to Lori, and I was sitting in the room with her, was, Lori, grill these scientists. Do not let them get away with anything. If they hesitate on the answer, you nail them and dig deeper. And so she did. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't know what she was saying at all. She's talking about molecular structure and, permeation of the skin and cellular levels and all this kind of stuff. But she knows what she's talking about, and I knew she was getting some answers out of them, and she was holding their feet to the fire. So the call ended. We get off the phone. I'm looking at Lori, and I said, Lori, well, what do you think? And I said, is it as good as, I don't know, I was going through my head, like, what have I seen at Macy's or Neiman Marcus? And I said, okay, Lancome, is it as good as Lancome, Lori? And she goes, yeah, as good as Lancome. And I said, well, is it as good as, I don't even remember what brand, something I'd seen probably at Neiman Marcus or some high-end brand, Lossican or whatever. She stopped me right there. She said, here's what you have to understand, is that skincare products that are sold over the counter can only have certain ingredients and formulations up to a certain level of quality before they cross the FDA threshold. And I'm like, well, what's the FDA threshold, Lori? She goes, at that point, a product can no longer be sold over the counter in your Neiman Marcus, in your Macy's, in your your high-end stores on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. She goes, they're all up to only a certain quality level. She said at that point, then they have to be sold through medical-grade skincare clinics like mine. So she said the problem is, and this is just the problem with marketing, is that a lot of companies, you go to these expensive boutique skin places that sell over-the-counter products for $400, they aren't any better than what you have right here sitting in front of you with enummi Skincare. She says, I have seen a lot of formulations in my time in this industry. These are some of the finest formulations I've seen. So, and then I told her the price point. Because I don't think I had told her at that point. I just asked her, are the products any good? And I told her, I said, I think our eye cream's like $28 and, our moisturizer's $25 and our Serum C, which is like our flagship product, which everybody loves, I think is at a $30 price point. And she just stopped me and she went, wait. She goes, do you realize that there is no other product line out there with this kind of value proposition? There's nothing. She goes, you have a winner in this product line. So much so that Lori became an enummi consultant immediately. In fact, once I took the job, Lori became a consultant. Not only is she building her own organization, but she acts as an advisor to the company as well. We're thrilled to have her, but it's a real testament about the quality of product that you will be representing as you build your organization to the goal of success. So the third piece for me was, so it's financially stable, the products are good. What about the company? Now, I've been in business a long time. I've had many wonderful positions with Fortune 500 companies, and they've always been public companies. And as I learned in business school, when as a CEO of a company, and you as a worker for a public company, the first person, the most important person that you answer to are the shareholders. The shareholders are number one. Now, what that means, because your job as a company is to create wealth, and that's fine. We're all here to create wealth for ourselves. I get that. But for me, it's, how do you conduct your business? How do you carry yourself on a daily business? What are your values? What are your principles? What are your ethics? because trust me, people, I have witnessed some horrible, horrible things. Decisions that have been made that were made without thinking about consequences of how it would affect other people. These decisions are made in silos, and it doesn't matter who gets stepped on. It doesn't matter if a company acquires another company and shuts down all the plants and puts people out of work, and so that their bottom line can improve, and they have effectively answered to the shareholders and beat their quarterly earnings estimates on Wall Street. I vowed a long time ago I was done with that. So my third issue was, what does this company stand for and what are they about? Because if they were about that, then I was like, you know what, it has to be 3 out of 3. Financial stability, product, prowess. But if the ethics aren't there, I'm gone. So then I found out that David and Bianca Lisenby essentially started this company, and I mentioned transfer factor before. They saw the benefits of transfer factor to people's personal health. But the way they really viewed it is it was a means to an end, and that end was to do 2 things: to better people's lives that were what the main company calls distributors, by helping them financially provide for their families in a more flourishing way, but also to take the profits of the company and filter the majority of them straight into philanthropic deeds. Now, I've met David and Bianca, and I've met all of the executives, the board of directors, and when you hear, it's a $250 million company, and you close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to think about, what do you think the corporate office would be like? What do you think the board of directors and David and Bianca what kind of people do you imagine them to be? And, of course, with my experience, I think, okay, well, Bianca probably wears, Chanel suits and drives a fancy car, and everybody's climbing the ladder and wanting to outdo everybody, and there's lots of politics going on and a lot of backstabbing like there is always in corporate. No, that is not the case at For Life Research. David and Bianca Lisenby are the finest, and Dr. Rob Robertson are the finest people I have ever met. Now, I grew up with Dr. Rob, so I have a perspective that, and you'll meet him. I hope you get the chance in the future to meet Dr. Rob and David and Bianca, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I've known Dr. Rob my whole life. I know what this man stands for. I know his ethics. And he would never start a company that was anything but the most philanthropic, people-loving company in the world. And that's what For Life Research is. David, Bianca, and Rob take their profits, and they do things like build orphanages in the Dominican Republic for abandoned children who have AIDS. They've developed a grain pack that people can buy. They've developed it with transfer factor and the vitamins and the nutrients, and it feeds a hungry child. And they did that for no other reason but then just to help humanity and do something really positive with the wonderful profits that are derived out of really solid business principles. They're not answering to Wall Street. They're not going out and buying Jaguars. There are no stock options. These are going into orphanages. But the other thing that they do with their business practices is, again, by helping For Life distributors and we as enummi consulting. So as a result of that, we have one of the absolute highest payout rates in the entire industry. You name the company, man, we're better. And that's because they don't do all this superfluous advertising. They don't do all this superfluous big Taj Mahal corporate buildings. They're not giving their people Mercedes, their consultants Mercedes or pink Cadillacs. David and Bianca and Rob said, let's let our people decide what they want to do with their money. Let's give it to them and give them the choice. Let's give them the tools to succeed, but let's give them the money to succeed. And so that's what they've done. That's what they've done. And so the three elements of stability, products, and a great company were obviously solidly there. It was a winner. Now, there was one problem, and I mentioned it earlier in the call, that I had not necessarily had the most wonderful experience in being approached by a direct sales company. In fact, I was blindsided one time by a neighbor and was asked over one night to come over and have some wine and cheese. I was so excited to go hang out with the neighbors and catch up with them and go over. I put on a nice pair of pants and take a bottle of wine over and, hey, good to see you guys. How are you? All of a sudden, there are all these other people there. Who are these people? Is it a party? Yeah, it was a party. It was a recruiting party for their direct sales company. I was so mad. I was just like, boy, I've been had. Played for the fool. It really put a terrible taste in my mouth. And it really, unfortunately, gave me a negative perception of the industry as a whole. And I found out that a lot of people had that same perception. And so I told this to Rob when I'm kind of continuing my discussions with him. I said, Rob, God, this company is amazing. I just don't know that I can embrace that which I'm not certain of myself. And I told him about my experience. He said, I tell you what. He said, come into the board and present an idea. But how would you do it? How would you create it differently so that we would never, ever be even considered in the same room as companies such as those that teeter on the, let's say at the pyramid model, if you will. And how would you do it? What would you do differently? So I took another month and really sketched it out on a piece of paper. And I said, well, I thought about really the couple of things that really bothered me. And really were my personal hang-ups. They were my hang-ups, but I had to get over them or change them so that I could really believe in what I was doing. Because if I don't believe in what I'm doing, I don't do it at all. And so the first thing was this pyramid thing. And I knew that pyramids were illegal in this, but I did my research and I found out that there are companies out there that kind of still carry the same spirit of pyramid organizations. It's all about, recruiting and going after people down the supermarket aisle and saying, hey, it's only $1,000 to get in, and you're going to make your money back in 2 months, and you're going to be a rich man or a rich woman. I guarantee it. Now, I'm sorry, but I can't ever be a part of anything like that. You talk about ethics or lack thereof. That's not me, and that is not For Life Research. I could not sleep at night knowing that one of my consultants was speaking to somebody who needed extra income in their life, and that one of my consultants was looking these people in the eye saying, hey, you know what, go find that $1,000. Go find that $1,000. Take it off your credit card. Go borrow it from your aunt. You're going to pay them back in 2 months. Guaranteed. It's terrible. I couldn't sleep at night. And nor would I ever. Nor would David ever, Bianca, Dr. Rob, anybody in this organization would never, ever do that. So as a result, we've made the enrollment fee for enummi at $30 a month, actually $29.95. We ask that you one time buy the full enummi skincare system in your first month, just so you experience it. I mean, you've got to experience our products if you're going to be selling them. So it's $150.95 plus shipping and taxes, comes to around $170. And then as a consultant, you pay $10 a month for your website, your back-end system tools, your social media tools. With your enrollment fee, you get your own starter set of business cards, you get interactive media, you get product samples, training books, prospecting brochures. You get it all. You're set up to succeed. So what happens in month 2? Well, let me just go back to the philanthropic sphere of this organization. And one of the things that kind of bothered me about the elements of a lot of these companies out there. Right now, the whole party plan system seems to be in fashion these days. And a lot of companies require their, whatever they call them, we're consultants, whether they call them independent sales reps or whatever. You buy $800 of product a month, and you sell it, and you're going to make X amount of money on every product you sell. You can sell it one-on-one to your friends. You can throw a party. You can do this. You can do that. But $800 a month. Well, guess what? It's hard to move through and have the pressure on you to sell $800 worth of products every gosh darn month. I couldn't sleep at night. I would just have visions of it stacking up in my closet and then breaking out of the closet like some monster coming after me. And before you know it, you're losing money in a business that you're supposed to be making money in. And again, me in my organization and my company, I couldn't sleep at night if there were people out there where it was so easy to lose money. What if you have a bad month? What if something happens in your family where you can't dedicate yourself to sell $800 worth of products? Do you think the company cares? Tough. Got to order 800 more next month. We don't. In fact, with us, I mentioned that grain pack. It's called Fortify for Life that feeds the hungry child. We have a partnership with Feed the Children. You don't have to buy any product at all. You can support 4 hungry children for $130 a month and not ever receive a product from us and still have your business open with full benefits, full everything. You can support one child and order some skincare. You can support 2 kids. And by the way, we've opened up the entire 4 Life product catalog to you in your second month. And that runs the gamut. Well, with our transfer factor products, everything from multivitamins to energy drinks to protein drinks to even dog treats. Now, I'm a dog lover, and that is one of the products I get every month is my dog treats because I love dogs. My point is that you don't have the pressure of having to wake up in the middle of the night having to sell the product that is stacking up in your closet. We don't do it. The last thing that I'm going to end on, which is going to tell you a little bit more about how we positioned enummi with North America, is that even the companies out there that really have a solid business model, they don't force product down their consultants' throats. There are good companies out there, don't get me wrong. But we've always had the problem with this imagery element that direct sales fall into a lot of times. And it goes back to this thing of get rich quick kind of thing. And I always felt like in the companies that I researched that in their brochures and there's big mansions and big cars and, you know, beautiful women with gorgeous hair and I want to be them kind of imagery. And, you know, it's just not the reality of it. At the same time, those same companies are all about, hey, here's a great product and nudge, nudge, I've got a great opportunity for you. It just feels empty. So what we've done is said, okay, sure. I mean, we're in this to become financially independent. You know, my goal is not to have a mansion. My goal is to not have to worry anymore. Your goal may be very different. You may want the mansion, and I applaud you for that. You can have whatever it is you want, and you can do whatever it is you want to achieve with enummi. But we wanted to integrate elements that really, on the surface, don't appear as if they have anything to do with product or opportunity. So I'm going to tell you what they are, and you're probably going to go, what are you talking about? But let me explain. We're interjecting resources of things like meditation and yoga and spirituality and being self-confident and carrying yourself with positive energy and doing blogs on how to train for your first marathon. What the heck does that have to do about me becoming financially independent? Well, it actually has a lot to do with you becoming financially independent, and that is if you are not strong physically, strong emotionally, and don't have the confidence in yourself, then you're not going to be able to build the business that you could build. You're not going to be reaching your true potential. And so with us providing resources that you can reach out, you may not have any interest in meditation, but you may have interest in running a marathon. You may have an interest in how to cook really great healthy meals for your family. Or you may have an interest in the resources we provide you on how to find a new hobby that's rewarding. These things make you a happier person, and happier people make happier consultants. So, yeah, it's self-serving a little bit, but we also feel like it separates ourselves as an organization from the others, and that this just isn't about cash. This is about a lifestyle. This is about bettering yourself on every level imaginable. And it's your choice what you want to take advantage of. All I'm saying is we've got it there for you. We've got it there for you on a personal level. If we're going to teach you to make money, we're going to teach you to manage your money. You know, if we're going to expect you to be full of energy and driving your business, we're going to teach you how to be full of energy and how to drive your business. And that is really what makes us a lifestyle company, in that we're not just product, we're not just opportunity, we're a community of people coming together, sharing common goals. And just because you want a Mercedes and I wouldn't mind a Pinto doesn't mean we have different goals. We just want to do better. And that's what we're about, is just doing better and being there to support all of our consultants on every level. Because when you decide to become a part of our community, you're not just making a commitment to yourself. You're making a commitment to everyone around you. Because this is not a me game. This is an us game. This is a we game. We are a community. We're a strong community, and we're going to continue to get more and more strong. And I started out this call by saying how proud and honored I am to be sitting in this organization, being able to surround myself with such positive energy. But now that you've heard my story, now that you've heard the enummi story, you can understand how easy it is to become so excited about what's unfolding right in front of us. And it's only going to get better and better. Our product roadmap, we have a new product line launching in October. We're going to be launching product every year after that. And each one of them is going to be of the same amazing quality that we have in front of us today. We're going to set the standard not only in terms of how direct sales are done, but how direct sales products are delivered and enjoyed. With that, I'm going to let you all go. It's been so amazing to speak with you. I know you can hear my passion. I really hope that you reach back out to the person that brought you here to this call today. My name is Cooper Hiff. I'm Chief Marketing Officer, and I am excited about tomorrow, and I'm excited to have you on our team. Thanks very much.